Hello, this is National Chess Master All Rats here at chess.com to continue my video series on the games played in the team match between my video lessons group and CARPE DIEM, and where I had something like 94.5 to 31.5. This is turning into a rout, about a 3-to-1 win ratio for us. This game was played on one of the lower boards, board 206, where we had our opposition outmatched like about 1500 to 1200, and the new Fischer's 78's our team. He even admitted he'd moved too quick, and you're going to see a lot of these instances. I really have to get after you guys on these videos just to remind you and show you what you're missing and how simple it is just to take, even if I get the impression some of you are taking seconds to make the move. Even if you take 2 or 3 minutes, you'll certainly find a better move. But ideally, half hour, just contemplate, analyze, get used to playing chess, analyzing a chess game. Bishop c4, the bishop's opening they call it, and knight f6 stops the quick scholar's mate attempts. And white's next move is kind of odd, knight h3. White's basically saying, I'm going to play knight g5 next move. So if black plays knight c6, white can play knight g5, and he's right at 2 knights defense. So I think black does find a good move here, bishop c5, putting the bishop on a good active diagonal. And if knight g5, black is ready to castle, and all the danger of the tricks and traps of the 2 knights variation, the lolly variation, all these things are gone. White immediately makes a bad move, a3. What does this do? And I talk about this in so many videos. This move is absolutely unnecessary. It does not develop a piece. Even if you drive this bishop back, it's going to find safety and stay on the diagonal. And if you keep chasing it, this pawn will advance and it'll just tuck itself back here. In order to win this game, white, you need to develop. That means you need to castle. That means you need to move your queen pawn so that this bishop can develop and get this knight out. Get your queen off the back rank so your rooks can swing over into action. That's how you're going to win this game. You're going to lose if you play moves like a3, because black is not trying to put any piece on the square, okay? And I think that's a lot of the reasons why these people run their rook pawns up. They don't like bishops and knights coming to those squares. So, black played an okay move, but I think he had a better move. It might be premature to grab this pawn. I don't think white has anything to fear. He can play something like queen e2 or even just castle. But anyway, to make a long story short, I think the best move is d5. When your opponent plays like this, you break the position open, because you're going to get a lead in development, and your pieces are the ones that are going to have access to the good squares. Okay, by meaning good squares, I also mean files and ranks and diagonals that open up. For instance, if white takes, just take back with the knight. The knight's position is improved. Black is threatening to double the white pawns. Now, d6 is okay, but it doesn't really challenge white in any way, shape, or form. You're not tempoing this bishop. This puts an attack on this knight, and white has to decide if he wants double pawns or not. And white decides he doesn't. And here, I'm just amazed at the move I see. The simple, safe, effective move to play in black's setup with bishop c5 is prepared for it, and I mentioned it, is to castle. Okay? Castle. Right here, right now. White has nothing. Okay? Absolutely nothing. The game's about even, but knight takes f7 would be a horrible move, because black will pick up 2 minor pieces for the rook. And white will have traded off his only developed pieces, and it's only a matter of time before the 2 minor pieces outduel the rook, collect a pawn, then another pawn, force a pass pawn, start advancing it, and white's going to have to give up material. Okay? The move here, bishop e6, is just totally unsafe. It has one defender, the pawn. It's attacked twice. It's like, this is the kind of move you'll see somebody rated under 300 play. And not to disrespect new Fischer, 1500 with his 1500 rating, but if you play in 5 seconds, you're going to play 100 to 400 rated chess ability. It's just that fact. It's just a fact. You can't play a move like this, okay? You've got to slow down. There's nothing forcing you to make a move. Stop and look at the position. What is white threatening? Yeah, he was threatening this check. Or a fork. 2 threats. You found a way to stop that threat. But in doing so, you lose a pawn when you don't have to. So white happily takes. And now white's at a pawn. White has a strategically winning game. A low-rated player is now going to defeat a higher-rated player, and it's that simple. White to play wins. Give me this position against an international master. I promise you I will not lose. He may weasel a draw out of it, but he will not beat me. Okay? And if I had this position against an 1800 player, I would expect to lose it as black. Okay? White has a winning game. All white has to do is develop his pieces. And black needs to do the same. So here they come. Nice castle. He does have some compensation for the pawn deficit. He's got a half-open F-file. And white develops with tempo. Well, it's not really tempo. The queen is guarding it. But white's going to attack it now. Now, putting the knight on the side probably was a good idea. Black will see that just b6 will defend the pawn. Where's this knight? What's this knight doing over here? It's a one-move threat. This helps black a little bit. Helps black maybe get back in the game. Okay, so b6. Now white should be thinking about getting castled. Instead, he goes for a pin. Now this pin would have been more valuable. Let's back it up. Let's back it up to this position. This move here, I didn't mention it. This would have been a better move rather than bishop b3 trying to pile up on a pawn which can be defended. Now, black actually has a chance to go wrong. For instance, h6. Here comes knight d5, and black doesn't have time to take this bishop. Now, it looks to me like black's going to lose another pawn. Okay, bring the queen. Well, you don't want to put the queen there. There's a fork on c7. Let's put her on d6. Okay, now knight takes. Pawn takes. Bang. There's a second pawn. White and black has nothing to show for it. So, this is coming, and I don't think there's any way that black can stop it. The thing to do is break the pin right now. Let's go ahead and put the queen on d6 and break the pin. But still, a move like bishop g5 gives black a chance to go wrong. And the way he was moving quick, who knows what he would have done. But anyway, bishop e3 is slowly starting to let white back in the game. Let's find the right spot here. Or is this close to it? Okay. Now he finds bishop g5, so he's doing it lost of tempo. Now h6 comes, but because this knight has gone to the side of the board, it's not able to come into d5. And it's okay for white to take this, but now the unthinkable happens back to back. Logically, white needs to castle right now, but he doesn't. And it's just remarkable. You won't expect the next two moves. Black has a threat. White doesn't see it. And all of a sudden, white sees this move and says, "Oh, I can do a threat of my own. I can attack that. I can attack that pawn. He can't take because there's a pin." Can you find a better move for black? Pause the video. Okay, you've resumed. I hope you found queen takes f2 mate, ending the game instantly. How can black miss a move like this? Well, the answer is black didn't look at the position. What are you playing correspondence chess for? You're not going to gain anything from playing blitz chess and correspondence chess. I'm telling you the truth. I'm doing this fairly. You're wasting your time. As my program explains, you can learn a lot by analyzing. Now, c4 in itself is a good move. You're getting back in the game. You know, you're messing poor white up. But I think now white realized there was a mate threat. Oh my gosh, he can checkmate me, because otherwise white would play d4, and well, maybe not. Maybe he's going to lose his pawn back. Yeah, white's definitely messed things up here. But anyway, now white castles, and black gets his pawn, and suddenly the game is starting to turn into white's favor. I'm sorry, into black's favor. I always mess black and white up. Okay, little trick. You can't take the pawn on b3. The rook will fall. now black's just got this dominating rook, and white's going to start hanging material here in a moment, ending the game. Now this just improves the position of that black rook. Rook's attacking c3, but it's protected by the knight on a4. And white overprotects c1. I mean c3 with rook c1. Now here it's attacking a knight, and white doesn't see it. Whoops. Here goes a piece. And now white makes sure he doesn't get back rank mated, but black collects another pawn. A meaningless check. And white's not paying attention. Here goes a rook. I mean, this game's a comedy of errors. Black had a decent beginning, but got himself a lost game. Overlooked a mate and won. Made a comeback, and white started hanging pieces. And it's just a routine win. There's not much left to comment now. The white has no chance at a perpetual check. The queen comes back and blocks. The c3 pawn is too far advanced. White's out of checks, and this is only one of the only moves to stop it from queening, but white just trades queens. He's going to get one back, and the game is over. Okay, so obviously both sides moved too quick. Let's see about the next game. Flip the board. Okay. 4 knights. I think a3 is not correct. Yeah, you pick up the bishop pair, but what's the point? Why not just develop a piece? Okay? What's wrong with developing a piece? Anything wrong with developing a piece? Nothing's wrong with developing a piece. Okay? Get rid of castle. Why spend a tempo just to pick up the bishop pair this early? This system is pretty even. Why not try to get the most out of it that you can? Now, black should probably develop this knight so he can get castled. But we saw black didn't castle last game. Let's see how he goes about it this game. Well, he did castle, but he castled like around move 17. But black plays d6. Okay, now d4. Look, got a nice pawn center. Bishop g4. Okay, h3 looking for the bishop pair. And here black commits a mistake. He gives white the bishop pair. Why not just drop the bishop back? Okay, if white kicks it again, he's weakened his king side, and then now this bishop's counterattacking a pawn. Okay? This move develops the white queen and increases its scope. Maybe black was thinking he was going to win something here. Let's see if he can. Pawn takes, knight takes. Maybe he can. Maybe this move's okay. He didn't go for this. You're threatening the queen, and you're threatening a fork, so white has to step carefully here. I don't know. Looks like black could have survived this. So h3 was a blunder, and black blundered back. Okay, this I don't think I'm missing anything. Black has just bagged a clear pawn and going to have another winnable game on his hands. So h3 is a lemon. Develop. Okay, don't go chasing these bishops. Develop. You can't win without your pieces in the game. Okay, so black doesn't take the pawn on d4. He develops his knight. No, he undevelops one knight. Kind of. I guess he's trying to transfer to the king side. What's white do? White pushes a pawn. Now, the problem I have with this pawn push is it blocks the center up. And it actually makes the black knights fairly good pieces here. Black has a wonderful outpost, b6, for a knight. And if white ever rips it off with a bishop, black can reinforce. And white's left with this very crummy bishop and all these pawns on light squares. And little by little, black is going to start getting the better game here. d5 is the wrong move just in principle, as it locks the position and the knights will do well. But is black capable and up to the task? Instead, he plays c5, which takes away the square that you want to get a knight to. How do you get a knight there? Well, it's simple. Here, here, and here. White can never drive that knight away with a pawn, ever. Okay? And it's stuck. It's there for the duration. And it can be backed up by a pawn so the bishop can take, as I was explaining. So, development will always help you find the best moves. Develop castle, then transfer the knight. There's no rush. I would rather play black in this position after d5. This is a positional blunder. Okay, bishop b5 check, king f8, and a little bit of maneuvering. That unfortunately just lost a pawn. Black has lost his chance to castle, and I explained that already. He had his chance with knight f6 rather than playing c5, but this just loses a pawn outright. But even so, the knights aren't looking too bad here. You no longer have c5, but you have possibilities of f4. You could play knight here, attack the bishop, drive it back, then get the other knight out, and maybe try to castle by hand. Black's doing okay here because white's locked the position up, close the center, and the knights have good chances here. And this bishop is kind of useless. It could be kicked, and I don't think white wants to see it buried back on a2 where it's going to really struggle to get in the game. Okay, so g5 drops a pawn. Simple tactic. Bishop takes. The f-pawn wasn't protecting it. It's pinned. Now knight g6. And now he's starting to follow my idea. Now the bishop was on the take, so he moved it. Now a6. Now, this is a blunder. You're going to get your bishop locked in. You need to come back to e2. Okay? What black should play is b5. Now c5. And question, when is this bishop going to get back in the game? Chances are it may never get back in the game. The only thing white can try to do at some point is play a4. And black doesn't have to take. And if white takes, as long as black keeps control of b5, this bishop is buried. And black can start playing this position for a win. White's, again, he admits he goes too quick. Well, here's the reasons why. You're not even considering strategy. But black decides to go for this pawn right now. Now, the pawn was doubled. It's not going anywhere. Don't worry about it now. Finish your development. Then figure out what you want to do. Then go after the pawn. Besides, it's a pawn that white can defend. But white doesn't defend it. White has other ideas. Okay, so check. Now white can't castle. Now black needs to beat a hasty retreat with his queen. But if he didn't see what was coming. Had he played b5, I would have been impressed that at least he saw the idea to bury this bishop. Although maybe this bishop will finally get out. The pawn may eventually get to c3 and this bishop will wiggle out of there. That's one reason why black didn't want to take this pawn. Let it stay weak. It's not going anywhere. You can win it on move 50 or 60. Don't have to win it right now. But had black played b5, he still would have lost, but I would have been impressed that at least he had the right idea. Black played a5. The problem with a5 is that it gives this bishop an exit. Black can no longer follow up with b5, but white has something better. It's a nice tactic to end the game. Pause the video, see if you can find it. Okay, there it is. Boom. Bishop check. Black takes the bishop, and then black realized he was losing because his queen is on the take. A little discovered attack. So with proper play, black could have won both games. And for me, I mean, there were times when I played too quick and I would lose to lower rated players, and I didn't like it. And you could have and should have lost both these games, Sir New Fischer, 78. You didn't, but if you keep doing this, you will. Now, how do you stop that? Hint. I've given it the answer 100 times. Just slow down. Slow down, calculate, evaluate, and excel. All right. Thanks, everyone, for their time. Take care.